Introduction to Pseudocode. Up until now, the programming we've been doing has been using different block coding languages like Scratch and MakeCode through microbit.org. Text-based languages are things you may be familiar with like C, Python, PHP, Java, and JavaScript. These are languages that can be understood by humans, but there's a compiler or an interpreter that can convert these languages into code that computers can understand. Pseudocode will be the first time we look at a text-based coding language. The word pseudo means not genuine or not real. So pseudocode means it's not real code. In other words, it's not a coding language like C, Python, or PHP that can be run on a computer. There's no compiler or interpreter for pseudocode language like there is for real coding languages. The purpose of pseudocode is to allow us to start developing the logic of our code without worrying about the specific syntax of a programming language. The word syntax refers to the rules of a language. There are rules in English and there are rules in computer languages. Computer programming languages typically have very rigid rules about what words can be used and how punctuation is used, whereas pseudocode is more flexible. You may find some clearly defined rules for pseudocode, but we'll just be using very loose pseudocode to help understand the structure of a program in a text-based language. Let's look at an example in Scratch first. So here we can see we've got a series of blocks. We've got one that says when the green flag is clicked, then another one that says ask what's your name and wait, then set name to answer. Name was previously defined as a variable. And then it says to say, join, hello, name for 2 seconds. So let's just see what all that does when we actually run it. So I click the green flag and the Scratch cat comes up and says, what's your name? Say my name and press enter. And it comes back and says, hello, Eric, and then disappears. So that last line where it says, take the word hello, join it with the name that I entered, and display that in the text bubble for 2 seconds. Now let's look at what that would be like in pseudocode. So it starts off saying if the green flag is clicked. So rather than when, it's now saying if. So if is a very common structure you'll run into in computer programming languages. You'll see things that say if, then, else. So you've got things where if is setting up a condition. Means if something is true, then means then do something. Else means if that condition is not true, then do a different thing. So let's continue on through our example. So if the green flag is clicked, we want to print out what is your name. Then we want to get the user input. We're going to store that in a variable called name. Then we're going to print out the word hello and then add to it name. And then in this case, if that green flag isn't clicked, the system will do nothing. So a couple other things to note here. In this case, we've used the equal sign to indicate that we're assigning the value of answer to the variable called name. And then down here where we've got print hello plus name, the hello is in quotes. So that's text, meaning that's exactly what we want it to print. And then the name means print out whatever's been assigned to the variable called name. Now, let's look at a slightly more complicated example. Starting off with the Scratch, we've got something similar again. We've got it where it says, when green flag is clicked, ask for your name, set the name to answer. Now is where it changes. It's got another if statement. So it says, if the name variable is equal to Eric, my name, then it's going to say, these joins connect text together. It's going to say, sorry, Eric, you can't play today. Else, or otherwise, it's going to say, okay, whatever your name is, get ready to play. So let's just see how it works when we get the Scratch cat going. It says, okay, what's your name? If I put in Eric, it says, sorry, Eric, you can't play today. Stop it and start it again. It says, what's your name? Say my name's Jack. It says, okay, Jack, get ready to play. Let's see how that would look in pseudocode. So we're starting off the same. If the green flag is clicked, print what's your name, and then get the user input. Assign the user input to the name variable, And now we've got another if statement. So this time we're asking if the name is equal to Eric, print, sorry, the name, you can't play today. Otherwise, or else, print OK, and then the name variable, and then get ready to play. Otherwise, do nothing. So now this else, this second else, relates back to the first if. And this is, again, now a good time to talk about the indentations we're using here. The indentations help us in understanding what's going on in the logic of our program. So everything that's been indented, that you can see here, will all happen after the if is true. So if the green flag is clicked, in other words, if that is true, it's going to do all of these things. And then the else is connected up to that if. Similarly, this if here is connected to the indented else. So that if and this else are connected in the same way that the first if and the second else are connected. You'll note that they're both at the same indent level. So these are both at the left margin, and these are both indented the same amount. So that helps you visually understand which if is connected to which else statement. And that concludes this very brief introduction to pseudocode.